Bill and Dave are on the lam, not to scam. Grab your cam, could be in a traffic jam or maybe in Siam. Bill and Dave are hiding out, what's their route? Won't give out, searching Brussels for a sprout. They rarely mill a boat. Bill and Dave are on the lam, on a tram in Rotterdam. Don't you forward them your spam, they're clearly on the lam.
Hey! It's on the lamb. And, we were just...
Steel cut oats.
Steel cut oats, that's right. Listener Pammy.
Hi, Pammy.
Hi, Pammy.
Wrote in and posted a link about what steel cut oats are as opposed to regular old oatmeal. And apparently it all boils down to raw. Raw is better, is Pammy's mantra.
So, regular oatmeal is already cooked?
That's
I guess so. It's pre-cooked. Or it's processed first.
It's rolled.
Rolled
Yeah,
oats. That's another term.
rolled
All right.
Yeah.
What's rolled
Okay,
oats?
Pammy. Yeah.
As opposed to steel cut.
Can steel cut oats also be rolled?
What do you mean Pammy's into raw? Raw is better. So she just opens up you just open up the steel cut oats and get a spoon and go to town?
Yeah, I guess apparently she does. We're throwing out a challenge to you here, Pam.
Yeah, she'll let us know.
But don't mean to come right out of the box and tagging poor Pam.
The box.
Our most faithful listener. But
I've had it with her.
He's getting a lot less listens on SoundCloud after this day.
Just kidding.
But we're just sitting around in an undisclosed parlor
Location.
Yeah, and just talking about old family things and different. It's a different era, relatives.
Mm-hmm. Our parents' era.
Our parents' era. Yeah.
It seems like the older the person gets, the less inhibitions they have to just speak whatever on their mind.
Mm-hmm. As well it should be.
As well it should be?
Yeah.
Is that how it should be?
You're 98 years old. Who you got to answer to?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
they don't care.
We were talking about your Uncle Jim.
Oh yeah, my dad's brother.
And how old is it? What's he, 96 now?
Okay, I think Jimmy was born in 1917. So if this is 2013, what is that?
96. He'd be 96.
4 years away from.
Yeah, he'd be 96.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Or almost 96. I don't know when his birthday is.
His birthday is in November.
Okay, well then he's 95 still.
Golden birthday?
I believe he's past that up. He's at
So maybe he's a Scorpio. That's why he's.
He's
Right.
cantankerous.
Yeah, Scorpios are supposed to be. They got the.
Well, I remember, I was just talking about how he and my dad were a couple of tough monkeys. That term just seems to fit them. And I remember them taking me to White Sox games when I was a kid. And I have a foul ball from when it was like 1959 when I was 9 years old. And
Wasn't that the real good year for the Sox?
that was the year they went to.
Sox,
they went to the World Series. They didn't win the World Series, but they played in the World Series against the Dodgers, I think. And we were at some game during that season, and Billy Goodman, who was a utility hitter on the White Sox, hit a foul ball. We were behind the third base line, and I just remember this thing came just shooting towards us like a rocket, and everybody stood up, and my Uncle Jim just put out his hands, and I mean, man, that slap just echoed through all of Comiskey Park, and with his bare hands, he just caught this thing. And an usher came over and said, "Sir, would you like to see a medic?" And he just kind of fluffed him off like, "Nah." He just handed me the here you go, kid. And I said, "Yeah, but it's right here. We're good."
Yeah,
We're just looking at it.
Passed it around.
Years later, I had Jimmy sign it. But that was just the way, he and my dad grew up in the Depression, and they they spent their youth it would have been more in the 20s, but that was
It was still the tough monkey era.
Yeah.
The era of
It
tough
was,
monkeys.
yeah.
My dad was born in the Depression, and I never thought of him as a tough monkey. But he was. He was the.
I saw pictures of your dad. He looked like a tough monkey.
There's not a whole lot of stories though.
He was
Are
a
there?
quiet, tough monkey.
But did I tell the story about the one time that he was in court
No.
on the podcast? This gives you an idea of how tough my dad was. He was in court for I don't know what. The judge looked up and saw him and said, "You again, $5." Hit the gavel.
Judicial system
Yeah.
at its most
Yeah.
efficient. The taxpayers could use a few more judges too.
Yeah.
$5.
Did his family have a hard time during the Depression, or
I was told that it was my great-grandmother. Every Sunday there would be a big party at the house
ooh,
because she was making and selling moonshine.
Ah.
That's how they did it.
Yeah.
Well, then my dad had 2 brothers, so they, I don't know how many years of school my dad had. He always said that he had a 6th grade education. And when you ask my mom that, she'll say, "No, I think he had some high school."
yeah, it was.
He had some
It was kind of yeah. I think my grandfather, my dad's dad, I think he probably didn't make it much past the 5th or 6th grade. I think that was, and he also was he ran a speakeasy in a couple of in Coal City and again in Joliet because he was, and they didn't talk too much about that. I mean it was but my dad was he'd pay his protection money to whoever he needed to pay it to the cops would come in and tip him off or somebody, and he was, my dad was tough. I think my grandpa was tough.
See, all these tough guys that we're descended from would be really mad that we're telling all these secrets.
I know that.
They know how to keep their mouths shut.
I don't know a lot of the stories though, but I imagine because of the time that they came from, they had to be. They had to survive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was just. What are you going to do for a living? Well, I can't do this, so I'm going to have to do this.
I know my dad had plans. He really wanted to be college educated, and he couldn't. That was just taken. He had to go to work, support the family.
I think, that happened a lot earlier.
That was the end of that. A lot of people that happened to. He certainly wasn't the only one.
Yeah, well, like the kid was in 4th, 5th grade, and it's like, you know what? We got something better than school for you to do. We need you to unload these barrels all day long. You're gonna, help out with the family, and that was the end of school. It's like school is just sort of like,
I know my grandmother too. One of the things to do back then was she took in boarders. In fact, she still had boarders in her house, which was on Eastern Avenue, which the house is gone now, long gone. But there were still.
I just want to point out that every time you bang on here, it's going to show up on the recording.
Sorry, I'll stop. I'll stop banging.
You just
just
finish with your
higher up.
Yeah. But yeah, she still had boarders in the house when I was little. But that's how she brought money into the house was to.
Was it real? Like whenever you would run into those borders, was it sort of like
it was? I didn't like. Yeah, I didn't like.
That would creep me out.
It's like that Outer Limits episode.
Which one?
What's that one?
The one where the guy from another planet was able to cloud your mind to make you think that he was just a normal human. But I forget what he was there for. I forgot what kind of research he was doing.
There was some. A couple different episodes of science fiction theater that featured shady borders in people's homes. Do you remember science fiction theater at all? Mm-mm. Yeah, that was. No. It was just like an anthology show, like One Step Beyond or The Twilight Zone, that would have like science fiction, sci-fi. So you'd probably love it, Dave, because you love that old sci-fi. There was one episode where. Somebody in the family, I think it was a boarder, or maybe it was a family member. They I might be mixing it up with another episode, but someone was growing mushrooms in the basement, and they turned into mushroom people.
Ooh.
And they were like, they would go down in the basement, and one by one, every member of the family would go down and wouldn't come up. They have to stay in the dark. And it was like the last person was this little boy, and he I don't want to go down there. And I said, "No, come on down, Jimmy." And he turns on the light, and they show all these people with these big white heads. And he says, "Oh, would you please shut the light off?"
That's terrifying.
It was.
Now that sounds kind of familiar to me, but I
I
don't.
was thinking that too.
Yeah,
It could have been. Well, it could have been on the show One Step Beyond too, which is another show.
Yeah, I did watch that.
You did
one.
watch that
I did
one.
watch
I
One Step
sometimes in my
Beyond.
memory I mix those two shows up. But the other one I'm thinking of is, I think it featured the actor McDonald Carey, who's an old leading man, and they took in a boarder. It was like this old man, and he would broadcast. It turned out he was an alien because he would broadcast on Channel 1. And they made a big point of the TV only goes down to Channel 2. There is no Channel 1. And there was a ratings truck going by with this new technology. They could aim at your television antenna and see what channel you're watching, and they would do it for ratings. So they're going through a neighborhood, and they go, there must be something wrong with this thing. Why do you say that, Ed? Because this is Channel 1. That's impossible. It can't be Channel 1. Oh, maybe we should check this out, and that's how the people get alerted. I said, well, we're not watching anything on Channel 1. And so they go up to the guy's room, and he's got all this funky alien equipment up there. He's contacting the alien race. They're getting ready to invade the Earth. But
It turns out it was just the BBC.
this is the BBC. The BBC One, actually. That's a, but yeah, I don't even know how I got on that. We're talking about something.
Borders.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
taking in borders.
There's a few good Sherlock Holmes tales that involve, the questionable border.
Yeah.
The rumor, and
Yeah.
the one who wants to come and go and never be seen,
Mm-hmm.
and just leave my meals outside.
Yeah, there was the the resident patient.
Yeah.
That was one like that. And
Well,
Or Birdman one or something.
the Birdman.
I don't remember that one.
You would just find feathers. Clear on what was going on.
Now here's I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, old movie from I don't know, maybe the 40s. Merle O'Brien, Laird Krieger, who's a
Laird.
Laird Krieger.
Laird.
Laird Krieger. I think he died fairly young. He had a kind of a limited history, but he was a character actor. The movie's called The Lodger, and should there. Well, anyway, maybe I shouldn't say. I don't want. If you see the movie, I don't want to.
Oh, it's okay.
Totally. These people take this person into their house as a boarder, and he turns out to be Jack the Ripper.
Ooh.
And Laird Krieger, who was not known for because he was kind of chubby and kind of a character actor, not in a menacing
Quite
way.
jolly old elf.
Yeah, but he's very
myself.
scary, Jack the Ripper, and he comes and goes, and he carries his bag and everything like that, and then comes and goes at night, and
Yeah, actually, that's a premise that's used a lot. In
that
movies and
was
stories. That's the premise in The Day the Earth Stood Still with Michael Rennie. Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever see that movie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, that's
I think this Outer Limits came out shortly after that movie.
yeah. Yeah, glad to.